path for the glory of Jesus' name. I am blessed, I am called, I am healed, I am whole, I am saved in Jesus' name. Highly favored, anointed, filled with your path for the glory of Jesus' name. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. You're so good to me.
Today's message is, I titled it, What is Truth? And the inspiration for the message was my studying the Easter story here a few weeks ago, the story of Jesus' the hours leading up to his death, and namely the trial, where there's this big question that gets asked at when Jesus gets taken before Pilate for questioning. In John 18 verse 38, Pilate asked the question of all the ages, what is truth? And he wasn't merely asking this question for a definition of the word. That would have been easy. The word means the quality of being true. That's the definition of truth. But he was wondering, what is truth? What is absolute truth? And in Pilate's case, he must have had a hard time deciphering what is truth and deciphering the truth from all the lies that were floating around in his courtroom at the time. He knew the religious leaders' eyes had been blurred by their desire for power as well as their jealousy of Jesus. So he knew that they couldn't be trusted. So whatever they're saying is very likely not truth. The witnesses they had brought to testify against Jesus, they had obvious flaws in their testimony. They were contradicting themselves. They were contradicting each other. And it became obvious to Pilate that these people had been bought off by the religious leaders to testify against Jesus and to hopefully get a guilty verdict out of Pilate upon Jesus. So it is among this confusion that in answer to a question from Pilate, Jesus says in John 18 verse 37 to 38, He says, "For this reason I came into the world, that I might testify of the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice." Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" See, often strong emotions like fear, jealousy, anger, these are all emotions that can cloud our vision and keep us from seeing the truth. When we allow emotions like this to overtake us, our vision gets blurred and we are left vulnerable to being manipulated by the enemy. Carrying around feelings of resentment or any other strong emotions is like wearing colored glasses that keep us from seeing the way things really are. Maybe we remember the old book, The Wizard of Oz. I know a lot of us have probably seen the movie. The movie leaves out a lot of details that the book includes. And as a kid, I grew up and I read that book many times. And in this book, Dorothy and her friends are traveling to the city of Oz to try to get help from the great wizard who's the king of the city of Oz. And somebody directed them, and it's a strange story. It's of a dream that this young lady had, and she's going to the city of Oz, and she's trying to find truth. And she keeps hearing from people along the way about the beautiful green that the city is. Once you enter the city, everything is green in that city. That's why it's called the Emerald City. Upon entering the gates of the city or arriving at the gates of the city, then there's guards over at the gates, and they tell them, tell Dorothy, and I think it's the Tin Man and the Straw Man that are with her, and her little dog Toto, and each one of them is given a pair of green eyeglasses to wear into the city, because they are told by the guards that the brightness of the city, the emeralds in the city are so bright that they will damage their eyes if they don't wear these green glasses. So these green glasses are for their own protection. They have to wear them because unless they want to keep their eyes from being damaged. So each one of them puts on these green eyeglasses, and surprisingly enough, everything in the city is green, just like they've been told. And but later on, when they get to meet the Wizard King, which very few people ever did, but they get to meet the Wizard King and they start questioning the king admits that he's really an imposter. But he has everybody fooled. He made everybody wear these green glasses, and he told everybody the city was green, and everybody believed him because they were all wearing green glasses. And by doing that, by making everybody wear green glasses, he had been able to manipulate and fool the entire city. And by telling them that the brightness of the lights in the city was going to damage their eyes, he had made everybody wear those green glasses. Everybody willingly did that. And so, and they saw things the way they weren't. It was only when they took their eyeglasses off that they found out that the city was really just an ordinary city. There was nothing spectacular there's nothing green in the city besides the things that are green in a normal city. In America, everything is viewed through colored glasses as well. Only we wear, instead of green glasses, we wear blue or red glasses. The ones wearing the blue glasses, the blue lenses, insist that everyone must see in blue. Everybody must see the way things are in their opinion or through their colored lenses. And they will claim that anyone who doesn't see things in blue is intellectually and morally inferior to those that see things in blue. They would go as far as suggesting that anyone who sees things through red glasses, through red lenses, needs to be forced by law to exchange his glasses for blue glasses. And then the ones who wear the red glasses are often not much better. Not a thought is given to the obvious fact that to see things clearly, one must not have glasses on at all. One must take off those colored glasses. But alas, they will all go on, looking through their colored lenses, each remaining convinced that he is right, yet never seeing the truth. Taking off these colored glasses seems easy enough. The problem is that we have allowed ourselves to become corrupted and misled and confused by years and years of wearing colored glasses. These colored glasses are sent by the enemy to bring confusion into our lives. And it's gotten to the point where just taking those glasses off will no longer help us to see things clearly. Our eyesight has become damaged. We have become corrupted. Our eyesight has become blurred. We need corrective lenses. We need lenses that can correct the vision that has been destroyed by the enemy. But how can we find these corrective lenses when everybody has corrupted lenses? Everybody's eyes have been corrupted. Nobody can see clearly. Where can we find truth? How can we find corrective lenses to straighten up this vision that has been destroyed? And things have gotten bad. Facts aren't seen clearly anymore. Facts have been replaced by feelings. And your feelings must be protected at all costs and by all means. Colleges have gone so far as to set up safe places on campuses where you can go to have your feelings protected and to keep them from the big bad facts that might hurt your feelings. Professors at these universities tell young impressionable minds that there are no moral absolutes. There are no absolutes at all. There's nothing that you can be 100% sure of. You must accept every lifestyle, every form of perversion, and it is no longer enough for you to merely tolerate all forms of ungodliness. You must also accept and endorse and promote the very things that God hates. Anyone who dares speak out against any of this, he or she will be viewed as intolerant, a bigot, and any of the favorite phobias that might be popular that day. And we can also no longer trust the news media to give us the unbiased truth. In fact, the reporters and editors no longer try to even hide their biases, their hatred for God, the hatred for everything that's good and right, their political biases. They flaunt those things like a badge of honor. That which has traditionally been known as morally right and good has now been cast away as being outdated, old-fashioned, and just wrong altogether, not right for the time we're living in. And these things get ridiculed on national television. The truth has been obscured and in many cases exchanged for a lie, leaving truth to die altogether. But are things really this hopeless, is the question. Is there really nothing that has stood the test of time that we can still depend on for moral bearing, for moral guidance? Let's look at the Bible. We could look at all kinds of ancient books, all kinds of religious books, but for the sake of time, we won't look into a lot of these things. But let's look at the Bible. We don't really have that far to look if we want solid, good truth. This book, the Bible, was written over 3,400 years ago. It took around 1,300 years to write, or it was written around in a time span of around 1,300 years. The historical and geographical events and locations in the Bible have been proven by archaeology over and over again. So many times, some scholar will come up and he will find a city or a place that's mentioned in the Bible. And he will say, okay, this disproves the Bible because this place is not found anywhere. Excuse me. Cannot be found anywhere. So the Bible can't be all true because of this. And every time, sometime in the future, that place has been found by archaeologists. That city, that place, and the time period that the Bible speaks of. So we can really say without a doubt that the events of the Bible have been proven over and over to be true. And there's one main character in this Bible that is spoken of from the beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible. In the very beginning of the Bible, when mankind sins, there is a hint of this Messiah that is someday going to be sent to earth. And he becomes the central figure of this entire book. And then, approximately 400 years before the birth of this Messiah, prophecies were written about the events that would surround the birth of this Messiah. And with amazing accuracy, these exact events were fulfilled right around the time where this Messiah was born. So no scholar with any kind of credibility denies the existence of this Messiah, Jesus. They may deny the fact that He's the Messiah, but they cannot deny His existence. There's too much proof of His existence. Interestingly, this Messiah, who is called by very many people a great teacher, His deity is denied by a lot of people, but the fact that He's a great teacher is not denied by very many people who know and have studied into this. And yet this Jesus, this Messiah, claims to be God. So He's either a great teacher and He's God, or He's a liar and has been the greatest liar of all time. Because He claimed to be God. And you cannot be a great teacher and a liar at the same time. Not a credible teacher. In Matthew 16, verses 15 through 18, in response to a question asked by one of His disciples, Jesus says, and I'll read here, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, because flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. If he's the Son of God, then which he claims to be, then he is also God. Because the Son and God are one. We see this over and over in the Bible. And to be the Son of God, he also has to have been there from the beginning of creation. In fact, Jesus himself says, before the earth was created, he was already there. So to have been there before the earth was created, that has to be the greatest, that makes Jesus the greatest truth of all time. That makes him truth itself. And Jesus mentions truth a number of times, and he calls himself truth. John 18, verse 31 and 32. If you abide in my word, then you are truly my disciples. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. It's interesting that there's a lot of universities have adopted this phrase, the truth will set you free. In these great bastions of learning, they use this quote from Jesus, although they don't attribute it to Jesus. The truth will set you free. That's the slogan, the phrase of a lot of universities, and yet they would claim there is no truth. There is no absolute truth. And yet they're quoting Jesus here. For Jesus to have been God, and for Jesus to have been the creator of the universe, and to have been there at all time, he is the source we can go to if we need truth. If we need to find our way in this confusing, corrupt world, let's look no further than Jesus Christ. Who would we go to? Who would we rather go to than the one who created us to find out what is true and what is not true? If we truly want to find, we truly want to see God, we need to start seeing things the way God sees things. To see things the way God sees things, we have to put on the whole armor of God. We have to put on God's Word. We have to get God's Word inside of us. So let's use this time while we're quarantined here and we're not allowed to go about and do things that we are normally used to. Let's use that time to start seeing truth and to start putting on those spectacles that will help us to see clearly, that will help us to correct this vision that has been blurred by our enemy. Let's use that time to learn truth. We must put on the corrective lenses of God's Word. It is only when viewing things through God's eyes that we can truly see things the way they are.
Till all shall see.